I wanted to have a quick look at this, a bit of a spaghetti junction, so apologies. I wanted to look at the components of economic growth. So economic growth is made up of consumption, government spending, investment, largely by companies, exports, and then minus imports. That's how they calculate economic growth. So if we look at this, we can see the one thing that was very difficult to predict within the Irish economy, even during the good times, was investment. So it's a small open economy. It can be very, very difficult to predict accurately what's going to happen. If we look at the bust period there, 2008, 2009, we can see that there were difficulties predicting exports and imports, and to a certain extent, that's partly down to the international crash, what was happening on the global stage, whereby people were being blindsided by the scale of the 2008 global financial crisis. I just wanted to look a little bit at who produced the best forecasts, and we can see from this chart, it looks a bit confusing, but basically the lower the number is, the more accurate the forecast. And there are 8 different categories there. And we can see that the ESRI comes top in 4 of them. And the central bank comes top in 3 of them. But in Ireland, as in any other country, the most important forecast is going to be by the Department of Finance, which is going to be formulating the budget on the basis of the forecast. So we can see that the result from the Department of Finance isn't so good. But we can also see that, in fact, one of our bailout partners, the Troika, it's not actually too hot either, because the European Commission is in there and it's not so great. And funnily enough, the OECD hasn't performed that well either. Now, these are the forecasts for which look 12 months ahead. So the next question is, what happens if you look at the forecasts that look 6 months ahead? Because forecasting, economic forecasting, is a bit like weather forecasting in the sense that the further forward you forecast, the more difficult it is to get it right. If there's a message from all of this, it's actually not to rely on forecasts. They can be wrong. It's a very simple message. It's not a very new message, but people don't tend to remember it. And perhaps governments should allow for the fact that projections can be unreliable. And really, a prediction regarding what's going to happen in an economy, for instance, that the Irish economy might grow by 1% this year, is only one of a number of possible outcomes. So, okay, I'm dissing financial forecasts in all of this. But in fact, financial forecasts are going to be far more important than they were in the past. And that is because of the fiscal treaty which we've signed up to, which places greater emphasis on medium-term forecasting. The difficulty about this is that forecasting further ahead, like the medium term, is even more difficult than forecasting into the short term. So we're going to have to put more effort into economic forecasting in future, and obviously after the bailout, even when we leave the bailout, there's going to be an awful lot more surveillance of what's happening in the Irish economy by big international institutions.